Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope everything's good at your guys' end. So, guys, I've been asked a question which I need to answer um, about this Bivol Canelo one fight coming up. Um, Someone's asked me, Imran. Obviously, there's a lot of concern, and he's a Mexican fan on Insta. I have a lot of Mexican fans. I get a lot of likes on my Instagram. Some of my Canelo posts, I get like over 2,000, 3,000 likes. If you haven't followed me on Instagram, follow me on Imran Mir Boxing and TV. And basically, I had a message come through on Insta. Now, Imran, obviously, there seems to be a lot of concern about this Bivol fight, and a lot of people think that Bivol could beat Canelo. And what do you think Canelo needs to do in order to win this fight? Obviously, Canelo's fought a lot of different styles. He's fought pressure fighters, he's fought boxers, and he finds a way to win. Obviously, Bivol is a much bigger guy, and he's a very accomplished boxer. He's got very good footwork. He's got very good movement. Imran, what does Canelo Alvarez have to do in order to win this? In order to win this fight, or give himself the best possible chance in having his hand raised, or potentially scoring a knockout? My response to him, my response to you guys, I think it was Celios that asked me the question on my Insta. Celios, I think he's a fellow Mexican brother. You know, he's a massive Canelo Alvarez fan, as a lot of you guys are. And I think a lot of you are kind of having twitchy bum time at this particular point, because I think some Canelo fans are worried that, you know, Canelo might end up getting beat here. You know, some are not. Some are confident. Some don't feel like Canelo's going to batter him. Some are having itchy bum time. It depends. You know, when it's a fighter that you really gravitate to, when it's a fighter that you really like, you know, and you know he's in a tough fight. You know, this is it can become very difficult. You know, I remember, if you guys remember, when Khan was fighting Brook, how uncomfortable it was for me. And even though I like Canelo, I'm a big fan of Canelo Alvarez. He's one of my favorite fighters in boxing today. Canelo is definitely by far the best fighter in the world, the biggest star without question, and a very reliable fighter. But some of my feelings towards Canelo, although I like him a lot, isn't as strong as some of you guys. Some of you guys are from Mexico. Some of you guys have been inspired by Canelo, got into the sport because of Canelo. So I know how much, you know, him winning means to some of you guys. But what I will say is this, that for the first time with Canelo fans, I've noticed that, you know, they are worried about this one. They feel like, yeah, this is a dangerous fight and one that Canelo can lose. I don't think I haven't sensed in even you guys, when I'm seeing you guys comment, I haven't sensed that, you know, a lot of you guys have felt the fighters before that he fought that were gonna beat Canelo. I didn't feel like you guys thought they had a chance. But I think you guys generally feel that Bivol has a good chance here. You know, if Bivol's a good fighter, and some of you guys have a very respectful of Bivol, you rate him. And plus, Bivol doesn't trash talk. I know some of you guys, the Plant fight and the Saunders fight, some of you guys took that personally, because, you know, those guys was talking a load of crap as well, and you wanted Canelo to teach him a lesson, where Bivol's a cool guy. Although you want your man to win, I think a lot of you have a lot of respect for Bivol, because he's a classy guy. Yeah, he's a good guy, you know. He's not a guy that talks trash. He's just a guy that comes and does his job. And I think you a lot of you guys respect Bivol's skills. You respect his talent, and you realize this is a proper fight for Canelo. But to ease you guys, and Canelo knows this anyway. Canelo doesn't need me telling this. But if I was coming up with a game plan, and what I think would win Canelo this fight, Canelo has to destroy Dmitry Bivol's body. Canelo Alvarez needs to destroy Dmitry Bivol's body. Let me say that again. Canelo Alvarez needs to destroy Dmitry Bivol's body. That's how Canelo Alvarez wins this fight, and potentially wins this fight comfortably, if he's able to go down to the body and bash that body up. What Canelo needs to do, Canelo needs to put water in the basement. He needs to stop those legs. He needs to get those legs moving. When it's a mover, when it's a guy with long levers, when it's a guy that has a bigger surface area, then what you have to do is you have to target his body. You have to go down to the midriff, bang the midriff, you know, put water in the basement. That slowly slows the movement down. The fighter becomes more static. He becomes more hittable then. For someone like Canelo Alvarez, who doesn't have the quickest feet but has very fast hands, Canelo Alvarez then, once you become a sitting duck for Canelo, he can then start letting his hands go with that great hand speed which Canelo has. Canelo has unbelievable hand speed. A lot of people, when they look at Canelo, they think that he's a slow fighter. He's methodical. No, no, no. Canelo Alvarez is very fast. You know, when you see someone like Errol Spence, he's a very methodical. Errol Spence is fast as well. But Errol Spence is a guy that gets on the inside. Canelo Alvarez has got unbelievable hand speed. He's very explosive. He explodes, he explodes into action. He's a very, very fast fight. He's very, very fast in terms of hand speed, especially when he gets you close. Those hands are very fast. I'll be honest with you. When he knocked Amir Khan out, I didn't even see the punch. I didn't even know what hit him. That's how fast it was. That's how fast that right hand. I generally didn't see the punch. I had to watch it on replay to see what actually happened. It was that fast. Canelo Alvarez has got ridiculous hand speed. So if Canelo Alvarez, once you become a static target for him, that hand speed becomes an issue. Especially to someone like Dmitry Bivol. Although Bivol's a fast guy, remember Canelo's the smaller guy moving up. So Canelo's going to be the faster guy here. Not Dmitry Bivol. Bivol's quick for the weight. He's quick for guys at the weight, but Canelo Alvarez is very quick as well. Not so much from a foot speed point of view. This is what Canelo has done over the years, and how Canelo has managed to beat a lot of these movers and become more effective against these slick boxers and movers. Canelo has started to bang up the body. Personally, although he hit Lara to the body, I would have liked him to go to Lara's body even more. But at that time, when he fought Lara, Canelo wasn't as developed as a fighter. Now he's a lot more developed. He's a lot more accomplished. And Canelo Alvarez, if you look at the Billy Joe Saunders fight, it was beautiful. Canelo Alvarez in the first round went straight to the body and started busting Billy Joe up to the body. And he constantly went down to the body. Why? Because once you go down to the body, like I said, you put water in the basement, the legs become slower. They don't move as much. Once you become static, Canelo Alvarez was going to batter you. He's going to batter you. As simple as that. And that's what he needs to do for Dmitry Bivol. Canelo Alvarez has to destroy Dmitry Bivol's body. He literally has to batter his body, which he probably will do. The only concern that Canelo may have is about Dmitry Bivol's power. So far, we don't know how powerful Dmitry Bivol is. Whole Diaz said that when Dmitry Bivol hits bags, the whole gym shakes. He goes, Dmitry Bivol can really bang, and Canelo's got to watch out for that 1-2. Now, some of you guys say, well, Joel Diaz is a hater. I'm not so sure. I'm not convinced by Bivol's power. I'm not convinced, but I don't know. I don't know if also Whole Diaz said that Dmitry Bivol is one of those fighters, and a lot of people say this, is that they rise to their competition. So if you put Dmitry Bivol in with somebody that's not that great, Dmitry Bivol will lower his standards to that particular fighter. When you put him in with someone great like Canelo, Dmitry Bivol will raise his game. Now, I'm not, a lot of people say that. A lot of people say that there's fighters that raise their game. I call bullshit on that, because Mayweather and guys like Canelo, they always used to be great. The real great fighters always keep their standards high. So I'm not a big fan of, raising your standards and lowering your standards. I feel like when you're going into a fight and another guy's going to punch you in the face and punch you in the head, why would you lower your standards? You've got to you've got to be at your sharpest. You've got to be at your best. Otherwise, you could have yourself, knocked out. So, I've never really understood that, analogy, or people saying that, this guy raises his game depending on who he's fighting, or lowers his standard who he's fighting. I find that kind of nonsense, to be honest. I find that a lot of it just excuse for a bad performance. At the end of the day, when you're going into a fight, you've got to be at your best. Simple as that. Otherwise, you're going to get flatlined, right? Canelo Alvarez fought Yildirim. Yildirim was poor. He didn't lower his standards. He battered him. He took him out in 3 rounds. That's what Canelo Alvarez should be doing for a guy like Yildirim. So Dmitry Bivol hasn't convinced me in terms of punching power. But again, maybe Dmitry Bivol has got layers and levels which we haven't seen before. Only time will tell. But in terms of Dmitry Bivol's power, if he has got power, then Canelo has to be wary going to the body. But if Canelo Alvarez, if Dmitry Bivol doesn't have the power, then Canelo Alvarez is going to bust up that body. And then it just comes down to how much the bigger man can take. If the big man can take body shots and he can absorb Canelo Alvarez body shots, which, it doesn't matter how big you are and how strong you are. If you're constantly getting hit to the body, Canelo Alvarez is a vicious puncher, especially to the body. I don't know, even if you're a big man, how much you can take before, it starts taking a toll on you, because Canelo really does dig into the body. I remember against Billy Joe, you could really hear when he was hitting the body, it was really, big punches to the body. They hurt. They hurt. When you're getting hit to the body by Canelo Alvarez, they really, really hurt. And Canelo Alvarez, you can see it on his face when he throws those body shots. They're thrown with a lot of bad intentions. They're the kind of punches that can break ribs. I believe Errol Spence broke Dennis Ugas's rib. He was throwing so many body shots, and you could see there was a point in that fight when Spence was fighting Ugas, that Ugas, you could clearly see that his volume, his output reduced. Was that because his rib had broken and it was paining him? Who knows? But that's what Canelo Alvarez does. Canelo Alvarez breaks ribs. Canelo Alvarez breaks out faces. And that's because he's got explosive punching power. And Dmitry Bivol is gonna, even though he may be able to absorb more, the body is an area which is vulnerable, which it doesn't matter how big you are, how strong you are. If your body is constantly getting hit, you're gonna fall to you're gonna capitulate eventually. Very few guys can take constant body punches. And Canelo Alvarez, like I said, is a very vicious body puncher. So I'm really looking forward to how Bivol handles his body shots. But if Canelo Alvarez wants to have a lot of success and stop the bigger man moving, I feel he's got to go down to that body. He's got to bust that body up, which I believe he will do, which he always does. Canelo Alvarez is a guy that always targets the body. I don't think it's going to be any different here. I think he's going to go after the body. I think he's going to target the body. I think he's going to attack his body. But for me, if he's able to do that successfully, I believe there's a good chance we may see Bivol slow down and Canelo be able to get him out of there. But I don't think Canelo's going to get him out of there with a big headshot, or I think he's going to have to break Bivol down to the body. I think that's where Canelo Alvarez, that's where I think he's going to get a lot of success for me. Canelo's going to have to break his body down, destroy that body. He does that, I feel like there's a good chance he'll win the fight, and he'll get the W. And that's my, what would be my game plan, just to destroy that body, break him down, slow him down, put water in that basement, and make Bivol a sitting duck, and then start teeing off on him. Like basically he did with Callum Smith. He hurt his arm. He basically hurt his arm. He disabled his left arm. He just kept hitting it. So I think that's what Canelo does. Canelo at the minute, in the last couple of fights, has been very vicious. He's been beating these guys, giving them swollen arms and, broken sockets. And, he's been doing some serious damage, ain't he, Canelo? So, yeah, let's see whether he can do any damage to Dmitry Bivol. But personally, I think going down to the body, I think will definitely serve Canelo well in this fight. But leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know if you agree with me, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.